Gosh, I just love chopping down trees in video games. There's a sort of peace I get from a good bit of deforestation in video games. If a tree falls in a forest and no one's around to hear it, I'll know. I'll hear it. I probably did it, and I will be a little bit happier. Can't even defend that one. We know real deforestation is bad, okay? Obviously, we know that. If you don't know that, then you're either a literal child, or a billionaire, or a crypto/AI enthusiast. And honestly, all of those things go pretty hand in hand. So, however, I can't deny the satisfaction from chopping down some trees in video games. It's a practice that isn't harmful to the real world. It's sustainable within these fake little video game worlds because of speedy replanting and regrowing. And the resources all get used by myself for survival or something like this. It's necessary. Probably. But what game has the best tree cutting? It all comes down to the weight of the swing and the physics of the tree falling and just how satisfying it is to create a field where there once was no field. If you think about it, it's not destructive. It's development. Which is what the billionaires would say. I want to look at a few different games that give us the freedom to chop down trees, usually with a purpose. Admittedly, almost every survival crafting game lets you chop down trees, and there are a lot of survival crafting games on Steam, so I will not be looking at all of them. Sorry. I do, however, have a couple of survival crafting games on this list, one of which I think is the pinnacle of chopping down trees. So, more on that in a little bit. So without further ado, let's take a swing at let's just begin. First game, Zelda. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom introduced the ability to chop down trees. Don't worry, the Great Deku Tree doesn't have to worry about any of this, as it basically meant Link was able to chop down any standard, smaller tree in the game using a weapon with a sharp edge. You'll see the tree take damage as you chop away, but once it's had enough, it will poof into a giant log and this log will fall. You can then further chop the log to receive bundles of wood, which can be used to craft or ignited on the ground to make a campfire. It works very much like a standard survival crafting game, except these games aren't really survival or crafting. Tears of the Kingdom lets you get really weird with creations using these logs, sure, and campfires can be helpful for snowy climates or resting the night away, but ultimately it's out of place. Breath of the Wild was all about freedom though, so I guess chopping down trees is down to your own free will. Still, it's a good way to simulate the chopping down of trees, and we'll see another game shortly that does a similar thing. However, I don't quite feel the satisfaction of toppling trees in Zelda, and that's not because it's not done well. Instead, it's because of the weapon durability. All that's going through my brain is, great, every swing on this tree is less durability on the already low durability weapon, and it's broken. Cool. Also, there's no way to replant trees in these Zelda games, as the trees have specific positions where they will spawn in the world. As soon as you leave the area and come back, any trees that you've chopped down will also be back, while fruit will need a little bit longer to grow again. I'll give this deforestation a 6 out of 10. I guess I'm ranking deforestation now. Then we have Animal Crossing New Horizons. All the Animal Crossing games have been similar in how chopping down trees works, but New Horizons is the first to actually give you resources and a reason to chop them down, besides satisfying the crazed look in your villager's eyes. If you swing an axe at a tree in Animal Crossing New Horizons, you'll get 3 pieces of wood from the tree, one with each swing. The type of wood is random and will vary from wood, softwood, and hardwood, and this isn't affected by the type of tree you're cutting. However, if you're using a stone axe or a flimsy one in general, it will not actually cut the tree down, and you can take your pieces of wood knowing that the very same tree will be standing for you to come swinging at again the next day. If you use a sharp metal axe, however, then the third swing will not only produce the final piece of wood, but it will also topple the tree, leaving behind a stump in the ground. The tree won't stay once it falls, and it won't produce any additional wood, nor will the stump itself. Instead, the tree disappears, and you can remove the stump using a shovel. Or keep it, if you want, Specific bugs will land on it from time to time, so that's nice. Using saplings bought from the shops, you can plant new trees wherever you like, and these trees will go through multiple stages of growth over a number of days, meaning you can watch them grow in real time. Man, I love video games. You can also just pick up a tree in its entirety if you want. Just eat food or a piece of fruit or something, and you can just use a shovel and grab the whole thing and put it in your pocket and place it down somewhere else. Why not? There's talking animals, so picking up a tree is the least of my concerns when it comes to breaking immersion. I'll give this deforestation a 7 out of 10. I'm sure IGN would agree. Okay, we've done Zelda, we've done Animal Crossing. Let's keep that SEO keyword train going and talk about Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley works pretty much in the same way as the Animal Crossing series, only now in 2D with pixel art. Chop at a tree a bunch of times with less chops depending on how upgraded your axe is, and watch it fall as it hits the ground and breaks apart into a bunch of wood, sap, saplings, and just general non-existence. Wonderful. You can then chop the remaining stump to get additional resources from that and clear the way for new farmland. Chopping trees is unavoidable in Stardew Valley, and it's one of the first things you'll be doing as you arrive at your horrendously overgrown farm. You'll need to keep on top of it too, as saplings will naturally spread from tree to tree and into the ground as they can in real life, as nature slowly reclaims the land they've left unchecked. Each season, some cleanup will be required, and that means more deforestation. Now, it's not really deforestation here, as you're clearing the specific bit of land for agriculture, but you can go ahead and chop down any standard trees in any other part of the town too. Those ones eventually respawn in their place as they're meant to be there, but that doesn't mean you can't go and chop them down anyway. I can't lie, there's something so satisfying about chopping down trees in Stardew Valley, and I think it's ultimately because of the sound design. The little chopping sounds are solid, the character throwing the weight of the axe with everything they have, and the cracking and falling of the timber once it gives in, and then a bunch of little item popping sounds. Good deforestation, 8 out of 10. Okay, next up is our first actual survival crafting game today, and one with that eternal relevance, so I can keep talking about it as we head into 2026. That's right. Did you think I wasn't going to talk about Minecraft? Minecraft is the survival crafting game, and one that deserves the lifetime's worth of attention it's already received. But of course, as many other games also demonstrate, the first thing you'll be doing is chopping down trees. Or punching them, I guess. Whether you're punching or have yourself a fancy axe, the process is going to be pretty similar here. Like the rest of the Minecraft world, the trees are made up of blocks, and so you'll be breaking it down piece by piece. There's no toppling or crumbling here, at least not without mods, so break the lowest chunk of wood and the tree will stay in place, albeit now floating. Continue to break all the pieces until no more wood remains, and you'll be left with the slowly disappearing leaf blocks in the air. Alternatively, you can harvest the leaf blocks to place down somewhere else using a pair of shears. Otherwise, you'll just have to painstakingly break them one by one, or be forced to look at them dwindling away for what feels like an eternity. Planting trees is as simple as placing down saplings, and there are numerous types of trees you can grow, all in different sizes. And you can use bone meal to make them grow instantly. Now, as iconic as Minecraft is, and despite the fact that I wouldn't change these fundamentals at all given the chance, I do have to admit that it's not the most satisfying form of deforestation. Not by a long shot. Minecraft's tree chopping is going to get a 5 out of 10 from me. It's good, it's iconic, and it's perfect for the game, but it's a requirement for resources and nothing more. No, instead, another survival crafting game has what I think is the best deforestation, tree chopping physics, and satisfaction of any other game out there, and that game is Valheim. Valheim is an early access survival crafting game that sees you in the mysterious lands of Valheim, a strange realm between realms, as you take the role of a Viking after death and seek to find and earn your way to Valhalla. I first played Valheim for about 20 hours all the way back in 2021, and my first death was because a tree fell on me. Need I say more? I've now been playing the game a lot recently, and have been discovering everything it has to offer bit by bit. About 100 hours in, I'm still barely scratching the surface, and I have no desire to slow down anytime soon. But by far, one of the most fun and standout things to me is the trees, specifically how they react and fall. It's very much like the way the trees fall in Zelda, in that chopping them will eventually make them break into a large log, which will then fall to the ground. These trees are much, much larger than the ones in Zelda, however, and they then need to be broken further into smaller logs, and then again into pieces of wood that you can pick up. Running into the logs themselves can actually push them around while they're on the ground, but similarly, these giant logs can cause serious damage if you're not careful. Not only can they hurt you, crush nearby enemies and creatures, but they can also topple onto structures and break apart your home, or at least damage it to the point of needing repairs. They also have some excellent sound design when they're falling, which is honestly in keeping with this game's consistently brilliant audio. These giant pieces of timber falling down feel like they have an incredible weight to them, and each one felled is not something to ignore, as you'll want to make sure you stay clear of its impact. Even better, when fighting significant creatures such as trolls, they can actually break apart multiple trees with a single swing, making combat in the dense woods even more intense, as destruction will begin to show before long, and these falling trees are yet another hazard for you to dodge. Plus, some trolls like to use trees as a weapon, so just parry it, I guess. Yes, in Valheim, you can parry trees. Also, just the swinging of the axe is so satisfying, and there's such a solid point of impact with the axe and the tree trunk. I love all of this so much I made a separate world called Woodheim, which is where I just have a little cabin and I go there to chop down trees, and that's it. There's no other purpose of this world. I could spend hours doing this, and I have. And I'll do it again. But this is by far my favorite game to cause a little harmless deforestation, and while there are others out there that stand out to me as well, such as The Forest or Lightyear Frontier, Valheim just feels so authentic and impactful. Yes, we're still talking about digital trees. I was recently playing Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing, and every time I would cut down a tree in those games, I genuinely got the sudden urge to save my game and go back to Valheim instead. That is how much it not only feels unbeaten in terms of the physics and design, but just in the satisfaction that comes from toppling trees, whether it be for resources or in the midst of combat. 10 out of 10 deforestation. Probably. Anyway, I am off to go cut down more trees in Valheim, so just comment whatever trees you like in games, or whatever trees you don't like and so you like cutting them down, or whatever trees you do like but you also like cutting down, so there's a bit of a moral dilemma to it. Whatever. Play Valheim. You probably have already, but I'm new to it, so I'm gonna say play it now. It's good. So cool.